And we should be live. Let me go ahead and check. Says we're live, but are we actually live?
I believe we are. I can see the play button on the... Yep, yeah.
Alright, yep. It looks like it to me as well. Awesome. Alright, so hello everyone. Ace here. Welcome to today's live stream. I'm joined today with returning guest Nathan X2000.
Thank you again for having me.
Thank you for being on, and today we've got a brand new comic book series. Specifically, Star Wars The High Republic Adventures Hunting the Echo Stones. Wait, no, Echoes of Fear. So that's the name of Echoes of Fear. Hunting the Echo Stones is, I guess, just the title of this particular issue, or issue 1 of this particular series. Which is written by George Mann, who is known for The Nameless Terror. So, one of the actually decent High Republic comics so far.
Ooh. Okay, it might not be PTSD after all.
Might not. But then again, we did give Charles Soule way too much credit before going into Shadows of Starlight and seeing how that went. Yeah, Nico says the time has come. Execute Order 69. Paul Schlock says the order has been delayed. Yeah, well, it's still a case of better late than never. And Nico says you are live. Yokai says the front looks better than normal High Republic comics. It does. It does, I think.
Yeah, it does.
So let's see what we've got here. So, written by George Mann. We've got two people that illustrated it, who both have the same first name but different last names.
Vincenzo Federici. Vincenzo Riccardi.
And Riccardi is also one of the color artists, along with Michael Attea. The fact that Michael Attea is involved in this is slightly worrying, because I believe I've seen his name come up a few times with regular High Republic adventures. But we'll see. Letters are... I don't think we've had too much issues in terms of the actual letters themselves, have we?
No, the only problems I've seen with text are where they're positioned on the page, so it makes it difficult as to track who's saying what.
Agreed.
But that's only been a handful of times.
Mm-hmm. So let's see how many people had to read the plot of this comic before it became public, just in case, you know. So we've got George Mann, the writer. We've got an editor, an assistant editor. So that's 3 people there. Then we have a senior editor, so that's 4, an associate editor, 5. And the Lucasfilm story group, so 6, 7, and 8. So 8 people at most, or 8 people had to read the plot of this comic before it became public. That is still a significant improvement over previous High Republic projects where you had 12 or 13 people reading the plot of it before it became public. But we'll see if it is an improvement. Then again, this is George Mann, and he is known for making The Nameless Terror, so we'll see how this goes. Paul says, looks better than last week's cover. Yes. Star Wars The High Republic, Trials of the Jedi. Worlds suffer inside the formidable occlusion zone where Markion Ro and his band of Nihil marauders, untouchable by the Republic, rule with an iron fist. Jedi Master Avar Kriss has escaped from this occupied space, and along with fellow Jedi Elzar Mann, leads the Jedi and Republic in a desperate fight against the Nihil and their nameless creatures. But a new danger now threatens the galaxy. A mysterious blight has begun to spread randomly across worlds, slowly infecting areas and turning all life in its path to dust. So it looks like they might actually be doing something to expand the abilities of the Nameless from this description. Interesting.
Hopefully they do, because the Nameless are infinitely more interesting than the Nihil.
I do not know how I feel about this first page. At least from the artwork perspective. The Jedi
That's
Temple looks...
That's Coruscant, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, thought so.
The Jedi Temple looks nice. The other buildings
Nice
are
and pristine.
The other buildings around it, not so much, but then again, that they're not the focus, and you're not supposed to spend too much time on this page, so...
It almost reminds me of India, like when those multi-million rupee people like build like big fuck off mega mansions, and you literally walk like 10 minutes outside, and all of a sudden slums everywhere.
Mm. All right, let's go ahead. Come on, Amadeo, hurry up.
What's the rush? It's not like the Jedi Archive is going anywhere, Riath.
I've found something. It could be the clue we've been looking for.
You found a reference to the Rod of Ages?
Not quite. Not yet. But we're getting closer. If we're going to figure out where to find the rod, we need to understand where it came from. So far, this artwork is definitely its own style.
Jesus Christ, it's very hit and miss. Like the faces on the yellow Kit Fisto looking motherfucker in the front, that's very good. The person next to them, even the people in the background. But look at the faces of the actual protagonists.
Yeah, frowny face.
They prioritized everyone but the fucking protagonists.
That is kind of
backwards.
That is kind of amusing, but I will give credit where credit is due. This looks worlds better than most High Republic adventures so far.
In comparison, yeah.
Alright. And that means knowing more about the Echo Stones, and how they might help us defeat the Nameless.
So, the record you want to show me is about an Echo Stone?
Exactly. Just like the one we used to make the rod.
Do you want me to voice her or show you?
You want to voice her?
Okay. Riath? What is it? What have you found?
No time. We're on a mission.
Sorry, Master Venestra. I don't know yet, but I'll report back.
Alright. I don't think this would fly very well.
No, something tells me that in like a Jedi temple, you immediately stop and talk to your master when they address you.
Yeah.
Like a Jedi Master's not going to be like, oh, we've just given like 2 Padawans lightsabers and a library of infinite knowledge about the universe that we've collected. So when I see them running around, not telling anyone what they're doing, no, I'll just let them go. I do their own thing.
All right. Are we sure they're both Padawans? One might be a knight, but
okay, fine, knight Padawan, but not a Jedi Master.
Yeah. It is, it is kind of, I'm going to say that that's slightly suspect. Anyways. Come on, over here. It's one of the oldest records in the archive.
Where does it come from?
It's a hollow met by an old Jedi explorer named Joria Scarl. In ages past, she was one of a handful of Jedi tasked with creating a record of the old myths and legends that had survived since the ancient times. She captured the story during her time visiting the last monastery of the Fulian monks on the planet Bartul, before their order ultimately went extinct. There's no records of the narrator's name or any mention of how she came upon such a story, but as you'll see, it makes for a very interesting tale. Beep. I guess I can voice her here, so So, you wish to hear the story of Darth Ravi the Bold, the most tenacious of all the ancient Sith to ever cast a shadow upon this galaxy.
A Sith?
Shh, you'll miss it.
Oh, okay, I'm listening.
Darth Ravi lived in an age now almost lost to history, when the Sith were still emergent and yet to make their true mark upon the galaxy. It was a time of conquest, when whole worlds were ripe for the taking if one had a mind for such things and the power to enact them. And Darth Ravi conquered, from the gateway of Tantalus to the mouth of the Revelin Cascade. He cut a bloody swath through the furthest reaches of wild space, carving out a domain unprecedented amongst the leaders of that time. And yet, despite such conquests, Darth Ravi remained unfulfilled, unsatisfied.
That's a very gorgeous looking page.
It really is.
Like, that is... Mwah. That is something I did. Well, I mean, it is Dark Horse Comics, isn't it? Like, that's something I expect to see as official Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
Like, good Star Wars stuff. Like, this is mwah. Chef kiss.
Finally, some good fucking artwork.
Yes, it is.
Alright, let me read some comments because YouTube decided to hide some of these from me, so... Yokai says, so 2 Italian artists. Yep. Nico says, George Mann, so there's a chance of a decent read. So far, it is got my attention. Mateus says, just fine. Backgrounds look like a slum. Says Paul. Aura says, fuck, I am late. How much shit is this shit worth? Time to use thermal detonator? And Nico says, the rod. Mateus says, it's like Afra Volume 1. Yokai says, based. Aura says, Darth Ravi, the most powerful Jew in Star Wars galaxy. I'm probably getting demonetized for that one. Hopefully just the video or something. But Mr. Vibechick says, pretty sure that was Anakin's owner. Oh, dear.
They definitely coded Watto to be like, you know, an older Jewish merchant. Like, his very grainy accent, like, yeah, Anakin, what are you doing? The boy cannot leave, he still owes me a full day work.
Mateus says it's good. Uru says that very much possible, but Watto didn't have superpowers only. Mateus says I'm surprised. Miss Vibechick says Jedi mind tricks don't work on him. Only money.
Jedi mind tricks don't work on him, but shekels will.
Republic credits are no good out here.
Shekels, on the other hand.
Oh, sorry. We have to use the in-lore equivalent. Zuckles.
Zuckles.
Alright, let's continue the pain. Well, this isn't actually painful. I'm just so used to... I'm just so used to High Republic being shit that...
A breath of fresh air.
Seeing something that so far is looking half decent is a rather surprising and pleasant change. One I'm not entirely used to right now. Alright, let's continue. For he was driven by an unquenchable thirst for more power, born out of his adherence to the Sith doctrine, and no matter how many worlds he laid low, how many populations he subdued, he could not stop. Nothing was enough. As each world fell to his crimson blade, Darth Ravi tasted only bitter ashes. Still he hungered for more. This reads like a character's fall to the ruinous powers in 40K.
It fucking does.
Also kind of looks like it to some degrees, too.
Yeah, with all like the wavy energy, like representing like tentacles and the warp.
Yeah. Until one day, word came to the Sith Lord of a gemstone steeped in an unparalleled arcane power. An echo stone of unknown origin that would grant him the ultimate might he so fervently sought, so that he could extend his dominion across the entire regions of the galaxy. With it, Darth Ravi knew that he would be invincible. There was only one problem. The Echo Stone was so powerful that long ago, the ancients locked it away inside the dead moon of Gothel to prevent it from ever falling into the hands of the unworthy. In a feat of miraculous engineering, the entire moon was encased in a mechanism of massive interlocking metal plates. So instead of metal boxes, we have metal plates for...
yeah, speaking of 40k.
Yeah.
Boxes.
These plates formed an impenetrable puzzle, a lock behind which the great prize of an Echo Stone was safely hidden. What's more, the puzzle had never been solved. Not in all the years that had passed since its construction. Yet to Darth Ravi, such notions only served to fuel his desire for the Echo Stone and the power it would bestow. Yokai says the 40k warp crystal. That moon looks like Hive Planets. Mateus says Kronos Prison. Vibe Chick says, alright, since it's gonna strike you down, sure is weird that Tordarians make up 1% of alien species. You have 90% influence. Oh dear. And so an expedition was mounted, and the finest minds amongst Darth Ravi's followers were marshaled and ferried into Gothel to assist in deciphering the puzzle that would unlock his prize. For endless months they labored, attempting to make sense of the strange encryptions that would help them to understand the nature of the puzzle they faced. Many fell afoul of the bizarre and deadly traps laid by the puzzle's creators to confound and dissuade any attempt to breach the mechanical systems. I will give them this. These are some pretty creative traps here from the looks of it.
Oh, they are.
Yet still, Darth Ravi would not turn away, and his followers knew that if they did not persevere with their task, the Sith Lord himself would administer a punishment far more wicked than they faced on Gothel. And so work continued until at last they heralded a breakthrough. The ancient code had finally been broken, and the words of passing deciphered. None would dare utter them, fearing another trap, save for Darth Ravi himself, whose hunger for power bore no hesitation. The words were spoken, and the machine set in motion. The plates began to move as the moon-sized mechanisms turned and unlocked. Only to reveal a second set of interlocking plates and another puzzle within. I love how this is shitposting him and trolling the shit out of him. And that reaction is beautiful. Be your best.
It's like you want your all-powerful crystal of ultimate power. Well, you're gonna have to go through like a Rubik's cube after Rubik's cube after Rubik's cube of Russian dots. There's one inside the other, inside the other, inside the other, inside the other.
Mr. Vite, or Be Your Best says, am I looking at the world's most complicated Rubik's Cube? Pretty much. And as Yokai says, yes, pretty much. So far, this is turning into an interesting story, even though it's just backstory.
Mm-hmm.
And the artwork is genuinely good so far. Filled with rage, Dark Ravi set upon this new lock with his crimson blade. But to no avail, for whatever alloy it was, it could not be marred by the kiss of a mere lightsaber. Yet Darth Ravi was bold and determined, and setting his frustrations aside, he bid his followers to start anew and solve this new puzzle as they had the first. I love the looks on their faces here. This is the look of, God damn it, he's gonna kill us if we don't do this. And the puzzle is probably gonna kill us anyways.
Yes.
Time passed, and as they labored, Dark Ravi was beset by strange visions, in which he was compelled to meet his greatest enemies in vivid Mortal
Kombat! Oh, that's beautiful.
Yep. But no matter the legions of foes he cut down with his crimson blade, there was one who would never fall, one whom he could never defeat, the strongest of all those who stood in Darth Ravi's way. Himself! But Darth Ravi knew these figments were for what they were, the proximity of the Echo Stone, stirring unwanted visions in his mind, attempting to push him away. And so, undeterred, he carried on. Again, this is some pretty good epic artwork.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, to be fair, I don't really expect anything else from Dark Horse Comics. Legendary for a reason.
Yep. Such brutal dedication took its toll on both Darth Ravi and his followers. By this time, countless months had passed, and the followers whom Darth Ravi had brought with him had all perished through the traps, through deprivation, or at Darth Ravi's own hand. Nevertheless, through his rage and determination, Darth Ravi sensed that he was close, and so he persisted alone until, at long last, the mechanism submitted to his bidding. Inside, Darth Ravi faced his biggest challenge yet. For while the final vault was unsealed, it was marked by the gravest of warnings, engraved upon the walls in a variety of languages. The warnings urged Darth Ravi to turn back, telling of the direst consequences for any who ventured further. For the Echo Stone, they claimed, could only be wielded by those of pure intent. Darth Ravi scoffed at such warnings, however, for he knew them to be nothing but more tricks and lies, designed to keep him from the power that he had rightfully won. And so, without rest or recourse, he entered the inner vault. And there, in the hollowed-out heart of Gothel, he found what he desired, the Echo Stone.
Is anyone else concerned that this tale of an ancient Sith and of a vastly powerful artifact tempting people from all across the galaxy is just openly available in a Jedi library? Like, some random Padawan could just walk up and go, ooh, what's this? And just read it and go, oh my god, I need to find it.
I know there's different tiers of access in the Jedi archives, so that might be one of these things where you need to at least be a knight to acquire knowledge of.
I don't think knights should be reading this. I think masters should be reading this only.
I agree with you. But yeah. Drawn to its incredible power, Darth Ravi wasted no time. He reached for the Echo Stone, taking it in his hands, laughing as he held it up before him. Soon he knew he would become the conduit for its power. Soon the galaxy would burn. Holy shit, this is turning even more into 40K.
Literally 40k, literally.
Okay, so this guy is clearly War Master Horus.
Yeah.
If you will not let me save the galaxy, then let the galaxy burn.
To burn.
But who's the Emperor at that point?
I don't bother to remember the names of a lot of characters, so the only person I can think off the top of my head is Buckets of Blood. He's the Emperor.
Yet in his arrogance and his hunger for power, Darth Ravi had grown too bold. For as he began to channel the arcane energies contained within the stone, he came to realize that the warnings had been true. So far he had fallen into rage and impatience and hunger that he had not for a moment stopped to consider that he was simply not ready to wield a power so great. And thus a Sith Lord was utterly consumed by his own mania, amplified by the power of the stone, and with him too the Echo Stone was reduced to ash, never to be wielded again. And so ends the sad and cautionary tale of Darth Ravi the Bold, whose reign of terror was brought to an end, not in a blaze of glory, but in a pyre of self-anointed greed. Well?
How do we know that this is anything but an old legend? Unless this dead moon of Gothor really exists, there's no evidence this is anything but a cautionary tale. It's the sort of story we'd be told as younglings to scare us away from the dark side.
We have no way of testing the veracity of the story. I have already checked. There's no record of Gothel in the archive or on any galactic maps held by the Order.
There you are, then. It's just another story about a scary Sith.
Maybe that's why this was actually in one of the lighter security parts of the archives, because nobody thought it was actually true.
Yeah, I suppose.
But that's not the point, Amadeo. Whether the story is true or not, it shows that even back in the early days of the archive, there were ancient legends about the Echo Stones.
But we already knew the stones were ancient, didn't we?
Yes, but we don't know their story, what they were used for, how people interacted with them, what their real purpose is. I don't believe they were designed to control the Nameless. I think that's a byproduct, a side effect.
And you think understanding that will help us work out how to find the Rod of Ages?
Not only that, but I think it'll help us understand how to use it.
Oh, they're fucking around with ancient artifacts. They shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, womp womp, I sense foreshadowing.
But that's not all. This is only the first of the holocrons I found that relate to the stones. Don't move, I'll be right back. Next time, the return of Barnabas Vim. So that's the end of the issue so far? Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so this was mostly a backstory issue. It does set up the premise, I think. Or at least definitely grabs your interest.
It's a very fun premise.
Yeah. Well, I will have to say the artwork is definitely really good. Like, really good.
I think that's its best point, to be honest.
Yeah. That is its strongest point.
But due to the quality of the artwork, when I say it's its best point, that means that anything below it can still be absolutely amazing. Like, the artwork was just good. Brilliant. Amazing. Da Vinci wept.
The only issues was that one panel where the faces were a little bit off. Or one or two panels.
Yeah.
That's really...
You'd think you'd prioritize the protagonist's faces. But what do I know? I'm not an artist. What can I say?
I will say this. The artwork, though, overall, really fucking good.
Mm.
It left me genuinely impressed. The actual writing? The writing, I would definitely say, is competent.
Oh, yeah. There was nothing ridiculous. There was nothing forced. Nothing seemed out of place. It was just a good old-fashioned Jedi story about a Sith.
The one plot hole we actually thought we might have found, the idea of them of this archive or this hologram being in an unsecured part of the archives can actually legitimately be explained by people not really believing it's real or not.
Yeah, but
So-
maybe it might be the definition of hidden in plain sight. Like, because it's in there, people go, oh no, clearly it doesn't exist. Whereas if you know how to dig deeper, which I think what the Jedi Knight's trying to get at, if you know where to look, this thing can actually be invaluable.
Yeah. So I would say so far it's actually got my attention. Definitely a comic worth potentially looking at in the future. We've actually found another one that might be legitimately decent, guys. So once again, YouTube has decided to hide some of the comments here for me, so I had to have another look just to find them. Okay. Mr. Vibe Check says, between Darth Rabbi and Darth Vader, I think who I'd trust the most. Around the younglings. Or it says, this reads like Jedi propaganda, and we know the Jedi are super corrupt here. That could be another angle. I'm not sure that's the angle they're going with, but we'll see. Nico says, oy vey. Yokai says, the ultimate Rubik's Cube. Vibe Check says, gee, I wonder why my comment wasn't read. 'Cause it wasn't visible. That's why. Nico says, kiss the lightsaber, give it some tongue. Or it says, Mortal Kombat, hit the music. Yep. Yokai says, unironically, this is making me want to buy this comic. This is the best Star Wars content I've seen in years. Yep. Mr. Vibe Check says, real leaders lead from the back after all. And Nico says, oy vey, Darth Rabbi, the Goyim knows.
Oy vey, Darth Rabbi, the Jedi knows.
Shut it down.
Shut it down.
Mateus says, like the Sith ghost in the temple basement. Or says, now we only need super dreadnoughts flying around. We would have a good story. Vibecheck says, so much for escaping 40k as I paint 40. Yep. Be Your Best says, the High Imperium. God, don't let there be a High Imperium comic book series by Kevin Scott. That would just no.
Hey, wait, listen. There's already a 40k Adventures headed by fucking Kevin Scott.
Yes, there is, and I know about it, and it's great.
He's already dipped his filthy little fucking hands in my goddamn franchise.
Mm-hmm. Mateus says, at least they are copying something good. Yokai says, this is the Jedi Library. They have infiltrated Sith, placing stuff in there to corrupt the future Padawan. Another potential explanation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they can hide planets so people don't know where to look, as was demonstrated in episode 2, why not just slip something in there that people might not have noticed? Mr. Vibecheck says, but 40k isn't that good. It's still a hell of a lot better than modern High Republic, typically. Yokai says, old 40k was good. Taya says, in comparison to High Republic, it is. Vibecheck says, how old is your old? Aura says, every time we speak of the Echo Stone, I just think Jack and Daxter. Taya says, it's a
shit, yeah, the word Echo Stones and Jack and Daxter. Fuck her off, goddammit, you got me thinking about it now.
And another one, Mateus caught on, and I noticed too, is a Dark Echo Crystal. Yeah, if anyone else was thinking of Dark Crystal while having a look at the Echo Stone there. Mr. Vibecheck says Dark Echo Chamber. Ura says, oh cool, the Darth Rabbi will create his Sith temple, the Onyx Synagogue. Yokai says, anything pre-8th edition, yep. Nico says, this was over in a heartbeat, damn. Yes, this was. This was one of the shortest comics I've read, which is a good sign. Mr. Vibecheck says, shut your whore mouth. 8th edition was decent. And let's see if there's anything else. I think we are good on the comments. So, anything else you'd like to add with regards to this particular comic book?
What, sorry?
Is there anything else you'd like to add over this particular comic book in comparison to other High Republic comics, for example?
honestly, I'm glad that the comic was short and sweet rather than long and dragged out. Because the longer something goes on for, the more potential you can screw up in some sort of aspect. But the shorter it is, the less likely error you might make.
The thing is, this comic...
Just as a first introductory issue, that was legit fine.
The thing is, I would say, here's the thing. In comparison to other High Republic comics, this one actually has more pages than most High Republic comics. This one has 28 pages listed, whereas your typical would have, 23 to 25? Which may not sound like that much of a difference, but considering we got through this in maybe 20 minutes and can easily go through an hour to an hour and a half on a 23 to 25 page High Republic comic, that should probably give you a good idea of how much of a comparative breeze this was. Vibe Check says, I'm talking about the lore. It's pretty bad and comes off as a Marvel slop with absolutely favoritist, and it is bad how the Imperium always wins no matter what, plus there's contradictions and retcons. Does the Imperium always win, though? If
he's in about 8th afterwards, ever since they introduced the Primaris, basically GW had a reason to make the Imperium win pretty much fucking anything. It was like ooh, Shannon and Marines, but anything before 8th, no, the Imperium was getting its ass handed to it.
Matea says because it was good. Indeed, this was a good read, I think. Luca says Darth Ravai's background and artwork is reminiscent of the Nameless Effect. It's got to be intentional. I think you are onto something there, except the Nameless Effect in most High Republic comics is nowhere near as well done as here. Or says one good or passable High Republic comic a year seems to be a limit, though. We'll see if this is just a single issue or the entire series. It could be the entire series. Let's see if there's any comments from people who've read this. This one's actually gotten more comments.
Oh.
Sarder says, a century before The Acolyte. You know, that super hot TV series everybody loves. Looking at those early streaming numbers, there's no way such a popular show will be canceled anytime soon. Corey says, hey, you giant ignorant dork. Absolutely no one asked for your opinion about The Acolyte. Bitch, please.
Someone got their feelings hurt. Aww.
Dad never told you how to read the room. Terrible. What a bitch. Trying to go after someone's parenting just because they don't like The Acolyte. Ace,
I think we found the rarest thing on Earth, an actual fan of The Acolyte. They exist.
Your side of the fence should be scientifically studied. A group of seemingly adults who incessantly pour time and energy into regurgitating ignorant, moronic vitriol regarding a TV show, at least at every chance they get, that they claim to hate, including endlessly berating fans and cast of said show with no less than lizard brain subhuman verbal diarrhea.
What? This dude's a fucking Redditor. No one speaks like that. Right. I'm surprised this dude can type with his fucking fedora almost falling off his head.
I'm sure that his wife's son is very impressed with his use of a dictionary.
Yeah. Fucking absolutely impressive. All the meanwhile, the house shakes because Tyrone's around.
Who am I kidding? This dude clearly didn't get married.
Almost surely the outcome would be go and do something worthwhile with your life. You loser incel. There's that word again, incel. And the fucking response by HeroFan_71, most sane Disney fan.
Yes, there we go. Sauter says, you sound a little triggered there, pal. Sorry your favorite Pronoun Wars series didn't do so well.
Pronoun. Not remotely a show for me, but thank you for answering exactly as I planned. Thanks for my point. So, all my fuck off, you little Yu-Gi-Oh! Hey, you acted my trap card. I knew you were gonna do that. You fucking retarded troglodyte.
Sarda says 100% TL batting average continues unabated.
Hold up, can't tell if you're 11, ESL, or retarded. Help me out. Oh,
I will say this.
oh, holy shit.
What?
So the chat function is a platform called Discuss. I've clicked on Corey Shomer's profile, and all of the fucking comments are him defending the High Republic on the other goddamn Star Wars things.
I am morbidly curious.
There's a rabbit hole.
One follower, two.
It's probably it's probably his wife.
May every kid love the Ewoks in the 80s, pretending otherwise is a bell. Anyone pretending otherwise is a bell end. And I honestly enjoy Battle for Endor more than Wince in doing Snooze Fest. That is the prequel trilogy. So, wait, did he misspell Andor? And get it confused with Endor? Did he seriously?
Endor.
He also says, exactly how I felt about the prequels, just as strange there's similar stories about how great they were. No one pretended, though, that the prequels were as good as the original trilogy, right? I think most people understand this. And in fact,
There were a few people that said the prequels were on par with the original movies.
Those people were wrong. Everyone knew they were wrong. Even the other Star Wars fans knew they were wrong, right? But here's the thing.
Well, anyone apart from that little sect that believe that. Don't get me wrong. I love the prequels. They'll always hold a special place in my heart. But against the original Star Wars, no, that's just not.
For me, the big redeeming quality of the prequels has always been the media surrounding them, like the games, comics, and books, and what have you.
Yeah.
And that's where I really start to throw in my defense for the prequels, because they gave us Battle for Naboo, for one thing. Which, really, when you start playing games like that and reading comics that are based on it and all that, let's see, he also says everyone knew what was going to happen in the prequels and still watched those pieces of steaming shit. Alright, so, yeah, this is a hardcore fan, but this is also he's describing the prequels. Here's the thing, I'm not the person that'll defend the prequel films themselves that much, but a steaming pieces of shit, really?
The prequels were definitely a dropped ball. Like in some areas, in some areas it got it right, such as the relationship between Anakin and Obi-Wan. Like that killed me when I first saw that. Like Obi-Wan having to basically put Anakin down or think putting him down, like he thought to kill him. But the overall war between the Republic and the CIS, holy shit, that was a massive drop ball. Like that could have been amazing.
It was in the comics and games and TV shows.
But obviously, you mentioned before that the media surrounding it was absolutely amazing, but the films themselves, but then again, I suppose he didn't want to turn it into a 6 series of films with the prequels. You know, because he does everything in 3s.
He's also talking about a comment from 2 years ago about how 3 people agree with another dude. Say that out loud. Bro, you're defending the Acolyte.
Imagine just being that damn bad.
So yeah, this Corey Schumer guy is a dick. Vibe Check says, at least we got the Clone Wars series to fill in the gaps of the prequels. Yes. Yes, that is true. Mateus, thanks Mateus for giving me flashbacks of Boba Fett game we never... Yeah, that does piss me off too now that I think about it. So yeah, is this comic here at least worth reading? So far, yes. They could absolutely drop the ball on future issues. If that is the case, then I will have no recourse. Then it will be a massive fucking waste of a potential here. However, in terms of the actual comic itself, this one issue so far has left a pretty good first impression. The fact that we spent almost as much time going down a rabbit hole on an idiot that tries to defend the Acolyte as we have actually reading the comic is probably a good sign about the quality of the actual comic itself. So, is there anything... so, Nathan, where would you place this in comparison to the other High Republic comics that we have read?
Into the other, in comparison, well, I think it's kind of unfair because this is Dark Horse, and it's almost like saying, "Hey, how does this random moped compare with this Bugatti Veyron Mark II?"
Well, the thing is,
one is clearly of very good, consistent standard, and the other one is just shit. So it'd be unfair to compare it to the regular High Republic series because Dark Horse is just lovely. It's brilliant. Love them.
Fair point, although I do think there were a couple other High Republic comics that were made by Dark Horse, now that I think about it.
Plus, would Dark Horse have written the story, or would they have just done the art?
Well, George Mann was involved in the writing on this, and I think... Let me check, see what the Nameless Terror, who published that. Because that might have actually been. So the Nameless Terror was the other series so far written by George Mann. And that was produced by... That was also Dark Horse.
Ooh.
And that was also one of the better ones so far. The other one that I would say that is pretty good is The Blade. And arguably Quest of the Jedi. Let me see what I can find on The Blade. Because I think The Blade itself might be proper Marvel. I think.
Oh,
Yes.
hang on.
Yes,
we
it is.
read The Blade, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, that was good.
So Marvel is capable of producing some good stuff. And Quest of the Jedi, which was the other one I think is alright, was another Dark Horse comic. Alright. So yeah, so far, Dark Horse, to their credit, do have a higher batting average for actually getting the comics right. So credit where credit is due there, definitely. I will say this. If I had to personally pick, I would still say so far The Blade is still the best High Republic comic. But this is certainly up there. I will say that. This is certainly up there. So, let's see. So yeah, the Dark Horse... Dark Horse did also do High Republic Adventures from 2022. So they did Phase 2 of that run. And that one is notoriously awful. So... Then again, they had Daniel Jose Older as the writer there, so... It's not like Dark Horse is completely immune to it, but... So far, they have been doing notably better, it seems. So, is there anything else you'd like to
add? No, not really. Like I said, this fucking comic was brilliant.
Nico says, I'll always enjoy the prequels, warts and all hell. The memes alone are worth it. Correct. Yokai says, who wrote The Blade? Charles Soule was the guy that wrote The Blade, which is why it was such a fall from grace when he wrote Shadows of Starlight. Because Shadows of Starlight was fucking atrocious.
Mm.
And it was predominantly because of the writing. Vibe Check says, someone who can ice skate up hills. Mateus says, they got feedback. Indeed, they have been getting feedback. So, yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Like I said, no, it's fucking brilliant comic. At least a brilliant introduction.
So far,
Can't exactly speak for the rest of the series, but...
Yeah, I am definitely intrigued and very curious to see where this series goes. Hopefully this ends up being as good the rest of the way through as this, but so far, I am curious, very curious. And I think
when you read the next issue, hit me up. I'd love to continue it.
Indeed. Alright, so I think we're at a good time to go ahead and call it. So, yeah, this has been Ace.
This has been Nathan X2000. Thank you again for having me on.
Thank you for being on, and we hope to see you all again soon. Until then, take care.